And then he looked me straight in the eye, and he said, "But I'm not on the pill." So long story short, I have to pay the child support.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, one day I will marry him. Before then, however, welcome to the Big Damn Cast.
This is the Big Damn Cast After Hours. Yeah.
We just chinked 2 jars together.
Yeah.
I've got marmalade.
I've got raspberry jam.
Welcome, guys, to a rather quiet week. We're gonna delve deep into a discussion topic this week.
Yeah.
There's not much news. We thought let's have a little look at this. We were sent something, which we went, oh, that's interesting. And the more we read it, the more we were like, oh, we have things to say. So we'll get into that in a sec. But first, Welcome to another fine episode. I am 6 yams independently taught speech by separate teachers who have come together to form one yam man.
And I am a space dustbin.
Baby. Yeah, we've got some stuff to talk about. We're going to touch on Rick and Morty Corner later and look at your emails. But first, a friend of the show.
Your friend and mine.
And yours. And mine.
Guy Lambert of Gisborne. He got in touch with us on Twitter.
And he sent
us a little article from Digital Spy by Rosie Fletcher. Hello, Rosie Fletcher. Long time listener, first time writer, Rosie Fletcher. She's not a long time listener or a first time writer, professional paid writer. Basically,
imagine that.
Basically, it's an article over Digital Spy. You can go read it if you want to follow along. It's called. The headline is the golden age of geek culture actually over?
What?
And then with the tagline, here's why that's a good thing.
So, by the byline, they've already answered their question.
Well, you know, that's modern journalism for you. So basically, the gist of this article is that...
I love how I've already opened it by slagging off their technique.
We're not...
And yet their article is providing us genuine discussion. So do you know what? You win. Inflicting.
Whatever you say. And it's actually an interesting article from this... It doesn't raise that many...
It's sort of a
new
point
points.
we've heard.
Yeah, like, it's sort of the whole thing of, oh, well, you know, superhero movie fatigue is setting in. And, you know...
It's going the way of the Western.
Superheroes go the way of the Western.
Yes, an ironic director who's
going
to revive it in 10 years'
which means
time.
Quentin Tarantino's going to direct one soon. And do a roadshow tour with it on 70mm film.
I just thought everyone should use the word cape, because they used the word capes back then. Oh my god. Damn it, Quentine!
Look, I'm an ally to the capes, okay?
Sounds like a Civil War thing or something, doesn't it?
I'm shining a spotlight on capeism. So...
Oh, Quentine.
Oh, Quentine, Turpentine.
Please make something set in modern day.
Taran Turpentine.
Please hurry up and make something set in modern day again.
So, has he got his next project announced yet?
I don't know. It's probably going to get cancelled and then brought back again.
We're going off on a ridiculous tangent anyway. So, basically, the article's saying that it is a good thing that geek culture, although it lumps together geek culture and the superhero movie like that.
Like they are one and the same.
And it's not...
I think the superhero movie is more a product of the popularity of
the
geek
mainstream
culture.
appeal of
a geekier
geek culture.
I mean, let's sort of define geek culture. Like, let's just set the terms. I suppose what it's referring to is specifically kind of science fiction and fantasy fiction being brought to the forefront and treated with as much respect as, say, if we go back to like the 80s and 90s, like sort of crime flicks and things like that, when there are trends in cinema, when certain things play well and become part of the lexicon.
No, geek culture is when you wear a Flash t-shirt and say Bazinga on a poster.
Please leave.
I can't. Because if I stand up, I might knock the table over that's got the computers on. But that's the only thing that's stopping me.
Okay, do you know what? For that alone, I'll let you stay. But yeah, it's that thing of like whatever is popular culture at that time. It is, and now it seems to currently be science fiction, comic book inspired products.
Yeah.
superheroes, original American graphic novels brought to
There's-
glorious life.
There's been a huge resurgence in genre fiction
Aye.
in the mainstream.
Probably kicked off most significantly in the early 2000s by, the article will touch on the comic book influence, but Spider-Man in particular was the...
Yeah. Well,
was the thing.
the spark
And
that
I'd
started
argue-
it all was Blade.
Yeah,
basically.
but I'd argue it took Lord of the Rings and Spider-Man to do it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
they were the films that made you go,
Blade-
oh snap, I guess I like this now.
Blade and X-Men sort of started that push, and then Spider-Man and Lord of the Rings came along and legitimised superhero movies and high fantasy.
And then Batman Begins went, hey, it can be a bit more grounded if you like. Here it is.
Harry Potter came along after that, and as you were saying before we were talking, that started the young adult trend, which geared towards a certain type of genre fiction.
Mostly dystopian worlds.
And mostly shit. And
Spiderwick Snicket Chronicles, anybody?
Oh my
Who wants to
days.
Aragorn all over my... never mind.
Never, no.
Who wants to Aragorn all over my darkest
City
rising?
of Bones!
Oh, you mortal instrument.
Oh, oh, the chaos.
Stormbreaker. So, which wasn't fantasy, but still, same thing.
Yeah, it was spy fiction. So
Agent Cody Banks. No. I'm being facetious.
it's definitely become the mainstream, and I think what the article makes the case that this stuff disappearing back out of the mainstream will actually lead to it becoming more diverse again, which is with the idea that a lot of it has become very homogenous. Like with the Marvel movies, everything is a white guy called Chris. Apart from the upcoming Black Panther.
Yeah.
Apart from the more diverse cast of Spider-Man Homecoming. Yeah, okay, whatever.
There's a point being made there, albeit slightly facetiously.
You're not wrong. Yeah, you're not wrong. Not necessarily right. How about you're not wrong? So...
How about you know?
How about you're not wrong about it?
How was it? How about you're not wrong, my dear?
Sam? And you're not quite wrong about it. No, you might be quite right. See what you see.
Oh, God. Welcome, everyone. This is what happens when we sit down and go, let's talk about a serious thing.
Yes.
Let's do it.
So
Hit
yeah,
me.
I think I'm not going to read the article.
No, but I think we can certainly quote as we go, because there's certain points that we started to discuss when we read through it.
Yeah.
So what would be the first?
I mean, the main thing to talk about is that, like, this has been... this made me laugh. 2017 has been the worst year for movies, financially, since 2014. That's a real long time article. That's like 3 years. Okay, cool.
Not that long ago, guys, but cool. Although we discussed that, we were like, is that right? I believe that 2016 was declared like the worst summer for movies.
Critically.
But not financially. It was
But
critically.
financially, this has been a pretty bad for...
People aren't going out to see these flicks, basically. They're either... Well, I think there's a level of fatigue to a degree. When you hear that The Mummy is coming out, you go, oh, well, I kind of like insert version of The Mummy you've seen before. Maybe I'll check it out. Cool. It's part one of Universal's Dark Universe.
Yeah.
Oh, alright.
The shared universe thing is, I think, and he talked about a bit about like later about how that's going to be good for DC, moving away from the DCEU. I don't know if it is, because yes, it allows them to tell more diverse stories with more interesting characters, but that is assuming that they've got those good stories to tell.
Yeah.
Whereas, because the Marvel Cinematic Universe is all building from the same foundation, it's always going to be a certain baseline of quality.
Downey Jr.
Same found Downey Jr., yeah. Apart from, of course, the Marvel TV projects, which...
Very differ in quality. Most notably,
apparently,
the ABC stuff.
Apparently, Inhumans, as its premiere, was like less than half of the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. premiere in terms of viewership. Like, it's not settled. It's not settled.
Well, I think even Marvel fans are a bit like, fans of the comic books are like, yeah, but we've got Inhumans fatigue because they've been pushing them on us.
They've never really been able to make the Inhumans stick, even in the comics.
The Inhumans would be a fascinating plot to a Disney and Fox ventured Fantastic Four movie. Like, we explore the cosmos. Holy shit, we found a kingdom on the moon.
Yeah.
Like, oh, what's that? The Inhumans debuted in that sort of shit? and thrived the most in that sort of stuff. Oh, cool. Why don't you just do it then?
And also, I haven't
Because
seen.
we want X-Men, but we don't want to pay for the X-Men.
I haven't seen it yet, but from what I hear of the Inhumans TV show, it makes it sound like the royal family are the villains.
Yeah.
Like, because they're kind of keeping everyone enslaved in the mines unless you have the right kind of mutation, and then Maximus is
There is something to
leading
be
a
said.
revolt to liberate the mines. I'm like, whose side are we supposed to be on?
There's
here?
something to be said about the grey area impeding what could just be a very classic story. I understand that complexity makes your villains more interesting and your heroes like less cut and paste, but I think we are in a place now where it's kind of different and surprising when we get a here are the good guys and here are the bad guys kind of story now.
Yeah.
It's so often not the case anymore that it is pleasantly surprising. That's why Captain America movies are kind of cool, because there's stuff in them that's like, oh, well, the Bucky's not doing this on purpose and things like that. But it's like, yeah, but there's still baddies and goodies, and that's kind of missing now.
And I also think that Captain America as a character is most interesting when he's at odds with the country he represents in terms of what they do.
Yeah.
Which I think has become a lot easier in the last couple of decades.
Probably in the last year specifically.
Yes.
Especially when Captain America in real life is basically on political rants and crusades on Twitter most of the time. Going, this is insane!
This is insane.
I wish I had my shield. So I could smack some idiots in the face.
So, I think also within Inhumans you've got the involvement of Scott Buck, who fucked up Iron Fist royally. And I think from the evidence of Inhumans and Iron Fist, it seems that Scott Buck has a fundamental misunderstanding of privilege and the mechanics of power in society and who we should be rooting for as an everyman. So, yeah. That's about it. But yeah. So yeah, I think that moving away from the DCEU for DC could be good for them. But not because interconnected narratives are necessarily detrimental to storytelling, but more because they've been telling bad stories.
Yeah.
Whereas Marvel have been telling good to, at worst, mediocre stories.
Yeah.
I would say at worst mediocre to great stories.
If we're looking at the MCU, I don't think any offering has been dreadful. There have been a few that are like, oh, okay, like your Iron Man 2s, your Thor 2s.
Yeah. Which are perfectly passable, actually.
Yeah, they are not terrible films. Like they just stick out like sore thumbs in that collection.
They're still a cut above shit like Amazing Spider-Man 2 and Batman vs Superman and
Daredevil, Elektra, Blade Trinity,
any of the Fantastic Four movies, Blade Trinity, either of the Ghost Rider movies. Thomas Jane Punisher, Dolph Lundgren Punisher, maybe the Punisher Warzone because I really enjoy it.
It's so stupid. I love it.
It's so wonderfully, thunderously stupid.
It's a violent ballet for the face.
He punches through a guy's face, like through his face, and then about 2 minutes later shoots someone's face off with a shotgun, like. But to the point, and Colin Salmon is so incensed by that he can't even say words. He's supposed to be saying "God damn it, God damn it, Castle," and he just comes out as I
forgot about
as a combination of Colin Salmon having to do this American accent and acting.
What's that, Patrick?
Acting. The point that this article makes that I think is really... The couple of points that I think are really interesting. One, that Logan and Deadpool and their success... That's not one movie, by the way. That's two movies. We're not talking about an announced team movie. Logan and Deadpool were lower budget movies with a higher rating. In terms of it, higher age rating. And a different take on the source material than what we'd seen before. And they were successful. So there is definitely a hunger... A thirst, a need, a
hankering,
a burning desire for this for a different take on superhero material, and I think that we've already seen studios learn the wrong lessons from Deadpool and Logan.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. A lot of studios turned around and went, "So what you're saying is, we need to make our movie R-rated," and it's like, no,
and I think
guys, no. No, oh, for fuck's sake.
I think the enormous success of It is also going to play into that. Although it may also lead to a resurgence in R-rated horror, which I am
All for.
I'm definitely all for. Although it's still only a 15 over here, so like hard 18 horror movies, I guess would still not be, because the R rating and the 15/18 are not quite on the same. Like an R-rated movie in the States can come as here as either a 15 or an 18, depending on what it's like.
NC-17s are a guaranteed 18, but NC-17 movies are so few and far between because they want to sell tickets in the States, so they always try and make it so that people 17 and under can definitely go to the movies. But they will. I think Deadpool was pushing for an NC-17 at one point in its edit. They were like, we could make this.
I'm not sure what else they would have to put in that movie to make it an NC-17. Like, they threw the kitchen sink at it already.
They did, and I remember they had that wonderful moment they made that announcement video on April Fool's Day, whatever it was the year before, where it was basically saying Deadpool will be R-rated. Like, don't you worry, it will be R-rated.
It will be pure filth.
It will be a hairy, sweaty nutsack to the face.
And I think superheroes in general, and we've had this problem in the comics industry for years, and I say we like I'm in the comics industry, but as a comics reader, I've noticed this problem for years.
As a reader of comic books,
people want to tell more adult stories, but they're still writing stories that can be enjoyed, if not are explicitly for children.
Yeah.
Or more specifically teenagers nowadays, I suppose. And I think the movies are sort of entering that territory now.
Yeah.
With Deadpool and Logan. But there's certainly an appetite for it. Like there was an appetite for Marvel's Max Comics line. Like there was an appetite for DC's Vertigo line. All that kind of... like Image stuff, which doesn't really have an age rating on it anyway, but Image's stuff has often strayed into more adult territory, particularly when you look at things like
The Walking Dead,
like Saga, go on. And I think Spawn was trying for it, but it still came off as horrendously juvenile because it's fucking Spawn.
Hey, he's got chains, alright, and his cape's big.
On a side note, recently I just started playing Angela in Marvel Heroes.
Oh, okay.
She's pretty cool.
Pretty.
But I need to buy a different costume for her because
cool.
Fuck me, is that costume design horrendous.
Don't you mean delicious? No, horrendous.
I say costume design, I mean lack of costume design. Like,
what's the ultimate costume?
Witch Hunter Angela from Secret Wars.
Ah, okay. So not just her, like, in a boiler suit.
No, it's just like, it's full armour.
Yeah. That'd be badass,
really
though.
Fucking cool.
Flying through the game
really
would be
cool.
cool.
And it's quite cheap as well, so I might pick it up because I've got enough Marvel Assessments saved up. But that's a Marvel Heroes thing that we don't really need to get into here.
At least for now.
Yeah, if you are playing it on PS4, hit me up sometime.
But don't hit him.
No, don't hit me. Get that pipe out your mouth.
I just thought, because we were discussing an article, I'd get all intellectual in my pipe.
Yes. The other thing...
Hang on, just got to chew on it aggressively.
Nice.
There it is. Good.
The other thing this article kind of touches on, but doesn't really go into explicitly, is like the need for a geek safe space, because all of the internet is now geek culture.
Yeah.
And but I think, okay, let's take a deep dive on this.
Let's do this. For some of our younger listeners,
so
just let you know.
Here's the thing.
Oh god, he's taking his clothes off. This is how serious this is. It's getting hot in here.
You don't need to be a dick. Alright? Female characters are not destroying male characters. Women coming and reading more comic books, young girls reading more comic books, are not taking comic books away from men. Or boys. Particularly boys. Because it tends to be boys who act like this. They might be in their 30s and still live in their fucking mum's basement, but they're still fucking boys. Geek culture should be diverse as it gets and open to everyone. What should unite us is our mutual love of characters, of stories, of adventure, of fantasy, of fun, and peril and all the sorts of wonderful things we get when we look at a comics page or when we watch an episode of Buffy or Doctor Who or whatever genre shows you're into. I mean, look at Star Trek. Look at the inclusivity that show pushes with every iteration it has. We shouldn't be fighting over shit like gender and colour and all that, but it doesn't. None of that stuff's immaterial. It's a thing because we've spent so much of our history as a civilization making it a thing, and we need to move past that. And one way we can do that is coming together over common interests. So the last thing that geek culture needs, it's become worse since geek culture has become mainstream because you've got so much of the entrenched parts of geek culture pushing back against the mainstream way of it. And it being, oh no, we were there first. We were into it first. We were into it before it was cool. We went into comics before they got made by pussies and bullshit like that. To be clear against, I've spoken to people in person who were pissed off that Thor in the comics, that Thor's hammer went to a woman and she got the Thor name because it was a woman. Not because they thought it was a bad story. Not because they thought it was,
like they were losing their favourite character.
Yeah, because, I mean, Thor's still around in the comics. He's just not called Thor. He's called the Odin son, and he's unworthy. That's why he's not got the Thor title anymore. People weren't bothered about it because they didn't like the story. They just didn't like the fact that it was a woman. We need to get away from that. Like, and of course, with it becoming, I think this article puts it perfectly. I'm going to quote directly from the article. It says, "What value does an encyclopedic knowledge of comics and film hold when the internet offers numerous actual encyclopedias? Why would geeks need a safe space when everywhere is geek space?" Well, actually, it turns out that they do. Because where geek culture was once the champion of inclusiveness and diversity, the corporate version has very little interest in furthering minority agendas. Geek websites turn out to be mouthpieces for global consortiums. Geek heroes turn out to be as reactionary and badly behaved as the bros they once purported to replace. So, and I'm assuming geek heroes is meant because it's not capitalised, in terms of the characters and the public figures that people in the culture look fondly on. Yeah. People like Joss Whedon, who has recently had a bit of a fall from grace. People like, Adam Baldwin from Firefly, who turned out to be a massive dickhead and all this.
Yeah. God.
There's a list of people out there. We've had a lot of it on YouTube as well. Like, creators turning out to be massive dicks.
Yeah,
I mean, we touched on the PewDiePie thing recently, but although we've kind of known about that for a while.
Yeah.
But there has also been, on occasion, we've had those things where people who are popular in fan communities have turned out to be dirtbags. Most recently, Nick Robinson from Polygon, who was a video editor at Polygon, and was always touted as quite an open and progressive dude. He was dropped from Polygon because of accusations of sexual harassment.
Oh, Christ alive.
That had happened, of course, in private. So there is that. There's those snakes in the grass. Those people who project a certain way and then act a different way in private. And it's just something that really interests me. Like, as someone who's been on both sides of the divide, because in my misspent youth, I've kind of been that guy who's been oh no, this is our thing, and you're. And it's not a good way to be. Like,
no, I think everyone touches on it at least at some point. Usually at the beginning, especially if it's in their teenage years that they're really getting into it.
Even if it's in what you might think as sort of passive ways, like, when you get the fake gamer girl stuff on Facebook, and then but even just liking and engaging with that sort of meme stuff is.
You're not helping.
You're enabling, really.
You're either participating or at least saying it's okay to the people who are doing it.
And like when you see someone wearing a t-shirt for something and you think, oh, you don't even know what the t-shirt is. Like, it doesn't matter. It's like, it doesn't matter.
does their knowledge of a thing affect your day or your life?
It doesn't
all?
matter if someone wearing a Spider-Man t-shirt knows what issue Kraven the Hunter first appeared in. Like, it's not important. Do they like Spider-Man? Yes. Does that mean they have to have an encyclopedic knowledge of Spider-Man to be a true Spider-Man fan? No. My girlfriend loves Spider-Man. She doesn't really read comics that much, but she loves Spider-Man as a character, mostly through the films. That's fine. Like, it's not a competition. We're not trying to... It's not competitive. We can accept everyone and bond over our love of these things collectively. We're not trying to isolate each other here. We're trying to come together. And just because someone doesn't know everything about something doesn't mean they can't be a fan of it. Maybe you could even introduce them to some things. Maybe recommend it. Maybe they can introduce you to some things that you've not thought about. Maybe you don't like Christopher Nolan's Batman trilogy, but you love Batman Nightfall. Why, I don't know. It's fucking shit. But like that doesn't mean that someone who loves the Nolan trilogy but hasn't read Nightfall is less of a fan than you are. Just because you like the OG stuff. Like, you don't get a badge. There's no prizes here.
You don't get your dick sucked for knowing, like, how long Hush was.
Yeah.
Believe me, I've tried.
So, and I would think that we're kind of preaching to the choir here.
Yeah.
I would hope that our listeners aren't that kind of exclusionary, reactionary jackasses. I'm pretty sure none of you are. So, that's good.
I mean, that's a key point in general. You summed that up quite beautifully when you said that, like, oh, somebody's a fan of it, but they don't know as much as you do. Well, why not go, hey, what about this? Have you tried this? Or, do you want to know more? I ask, do you want to know more?
Would you like to know more?
I can help you out there. I can help you with this. Like, I've gone on about this quite a bit on Twitter over the years, and I think this is a big part of why maybe this article's saying that, you know, geek culture sort of softening in terms of being the popular culture might be a good thing. There is a lot of vitriol out there. There is a lot of hatred and snarkiness. Now, that's not to be confused with not liking a product. I hate the movie Batman vs Superman. I think it's a dreadful piece of work. I think it misrepresents everything I love about those characters. But you know what? If you love it, awesome.
I don't understand why.
I don't understand why, but I'm so happy you get enjoyment out of it.
And feel free to explain it to us.
Yeah, but let's have a discussion. Let's have an argument / like laugh.
Preferably a discussion rather than an argument.
Well, no,
but yeah, let's have an argument.
Not like a full blown thing, but you know what I mean? Like, where you can sort of take the piss out of each other for thinking one thing, and you know, as long as you're all having fun, discussing, and if you're taking the piss in jest and you're on that vibe with someone, like for example. Never get into an argument with someone about their taste if you don't know them personally. If you know them, it's kind of fun. You're sparring with your mate. It's a laugh.
Like, it's totally cool to disagree and have discussions and even arguments, but don't get shitty and defensive about it.
Yes.
Like people on Twitter do literally every day.
Every second of every day. And that is something that's so apparent. Again, not to harp on the DCA, it's not called the DCEU, it turns out, is it? But it turns out that was never a proper name for it.
Oh, God knows.
But not to harp on the DC cinematic universe or whatever
but we're
too
gonna.
much.
But we're going to.
But like when that Justice League trailer dropped earlier this year.
Yeah.
I tweeted about it, I said it just looks bland and crowded and I'm not happy with it. And I ended up on the Twitter moment about the trailer.
Yeah.
For days on end I received abuse and death threats and insults from people I'd never met.
And that wasn't even to do with the Justice League trailer, they just didn't like you.
Yeah, it's my face more than anything. But do you know what I mean? It was like, wow, I'm not saying you're a horrible person if you are excited for this movie. I think I even followed up the tweet immediately so that anyone who looked at it would see my next one underneath it saying, just to clarify, I wish I was excited for this.
But they won't see that because Twitter has changed the way that we look at tweets, that we never get anything in chronological order anymore.
Yeah.
I keep getting like 2-day-old tweets at the top of my fucking timeline. Jesus Christ.
But I also think like fandom is it's weirdly venomous and nasty. Doctor Who is a fandom that is very rife with
There's
this
a
sort of
toxicity
mentality.
to geek culture now, which I think has...
And a lot of it does... I mean, I'm not saying the older fans are barred from this, it's definitely there, but a lot of it is from the younger fans who think they're doing it out of, like, loyalty.
They think they're protecting something.
And
you're not protecting anything.
Yeah, you don't owe them anything. You don't owe, like... you don't owe Series 9 of Doctor Who anything. If someone says,
if anything,
I
it
think
owes
Series
you
9...
something back.
Yeah, if someone says, I think Doctor Who Series 9 is shit, you don't have to fight them to the death for Doctor Who Series 9's honour.
You don't have to fight.
You can be like, oh, that's a shame. I really dug it. Oh, it's a shame you didn't enjoy it. Boom, there you go.
Don't have to fight creators' corners for them.
And similarly, like, the people who, you know, are slagging things off and don't like stuff and openly discuss how much they hate it, like, don't be nasty to the people who like it.
Yeah.
Don't hate back that way. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's mental. It's so strange. I mean, that is something that it'd be interesting to see if geek culture, unquote, left the mainstream.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see if that softened or went quiet compared to how it is now. In a world where the moment you say, oh my god, do you know what? I watched Captain America Civil War last night and I loved it. And 10 of the people who respond to you are saying, fucking Marvel shell, fuck you, Batman v Superman's better. And you're like, I didn't even mention Batman v Superman. Wait, what is that? Like, in that world, I wonder if that would quiet were it less the mainstream.
Maybe.
The thing is, we remember, a lot of our listeners might be of an age where they've always had this stuff around.
Yeah.
Like, Doctor Who's been around for what? Like, 12 years now since it came back. So if any of our listeners are in their late teens even, they've grown up with it.
I didn't have regular, proper access to the internet until I was like 16, 17.
Yeah. Same.
And Twitter didn't come along until I was in university, until I was a student.
Yeah. 2009, I think.
Yeah.
It was when it became something that a lot of people were using as opposed to businesses.
Like, I remember Facebook launching when I was in college. Like, I
remember holding off joining it for ages. I was like, fuck you. I want to talk to people. When college ended and everyone went, I'll get you on Facebook. And I was like, oh, for God's sake.
We're sort of like the last dregs of the pre-social media generation.
Yeah. Like, we were there, we found it fascinating because it was developing as we were paying attention.
Yeah. And this,
we were MySpacers, damn it.
Unfortunately, it has to be said.
Were you on MySpace?
Oh, yeah. This top
what song did you put at the top of your page?
Probably one of my band songs.
Oh, see, I wasn't creative. I was probably System of a Down. Oh no, mine was a terrible rip because half the time you had to do it through MySpace. And the official bands hadn't done it. Mine was a terrible rip of Drowning Pool, Bodies.
Oh, let the bodies hit the floor.
Yeah, it was awful. It started at the wrong time.
I saw them at the last Ozfest at Donington.
Oh.
Yeah.
How was that?
Pretty fun.
Did the bodies hit the floor?
The bodies did hit the floor.
Was there a relatively sensible we're all having fun mosh pit, or was there a guys seriously stop mosh pit?
I don't know, I was really far back.
Fair play. Is that slang?
Yeah.
But we grew up in that age where this stuff was developing, but a lot of our listeners will have grown up with, like, for example, if one of our listeners is 18.
Yeah.
Hopefully
we got some young listeners.
If one of our listeners is 18, Iron Man was out when they were 9.
Yeah.
So for their teenage years, the Marvel Cinematic Universe has been a thing the entire time. I'd be interested to find out from you guys. Send some emails in for next week as well, because we'll touch on this again briefly. I'd be interested to find out from our younger listeners if you are aware of the slight, the vitriolic nature, the venomous sort of spats going on in fandoms and things like that.
Yeah.
Or if it is just so part of the world you've grown up with that you don't really notice it. Maybe you guys have, for lack of a better term, like a thicker skin to that stuff because you've grown up in that environment.
Or is it just normalised?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Whereas to us, we've seen it and gone, wow, people are being petty for no reason. Stop being assholes. And it's like, well, maybe that is the attitude now to a generation or two. Who knows?
And that's the difficult thing about what we do, because we want to be critical and analytic, but not necessarily contribute to the shitstorm. So when we have to be negative about something, it's fun to take a dump on it, but
we didn't want to hate Kingsman last week.
No, we did not want to hate Kingsman, and I don't want to. Like, I don't like Kingsman as much as my girlfriend does. Yeah. But I don't get to argue with my girlfriend about what was shit about Kingsman and what wasn't. Like, it doesn't matter. We just like different things about it. It's not a competition to see who's more into Kingsman, and I don't need to. She doesn't feel the need to defend Matthew Vaughn, like, partly because he's indefensible, but like, because it's not. You don't need to defend directors and writers. Like, people are doing that themselves.
I just remembered something actually. We're here in what is affectionately known as like the Tat Cave.
The Tat Cave, yeah.
Filled with stuff. Like, I've got DVDs and books and graphic novels on shelves and toys galore in here and stuff.
You've got the Batman of Zer and
which is amazing that that's an action figure. But like, I don't have this room as like a token of pride or as like a bow before me. it's just full of stuff that I love that makes me happy.
Yeah,
That I've
it's not a
collected over the
status
years.
symbol. It's not like,
Yeah.
look at how much of a fan I am.
Yeah.
It's like, I love all this shit.
This room is my equivalent of when everybody collects teddies and they put them on the end of the bed.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, I love teddy bears. Look at my cool teddy bears. I'm like, look at my cool Cybermen. I've got all the Cybermen from Character Options up there. That's great, isn't it? Like, it's not me going, I'm better than you, I'm better than you, I'm better than you. It's me going, oh, this cool shit. I love it. It makes me happy. And yet I still had to use it in an argument when the Justice League fiasco happened. Someone was like, don't read the comics, this, that, and the other, blah, blah. So I took a selfie. I think, in fact, was it a selfie or did you take the photo for me?
I think I took the photo for you.
I was crouched in front of my Batman graphic novels specifically.
Let's see what we've got here.
And sort of like just smirking up in the camera. And I just sent him that photo as a reply. And it didn't shut him up entirely. He sort of said something like, yeah, well, you know, anyone could have the books. And it's like, yeah, but isn't that your argument against me? That I don't follow this stuff and I'm just making shit up.
And you must be a hardcore Batman fan, Chris, because you've got some shit on this shelf.
I do have some bollocks on that
all
shelf.
3 volumes of Nightfall.
Yes.
I mean, I have all 3 volumes of Nightfall as well, so I'm not going to...
Hey, I also have the audio play, but that's a lot of fun.
I have the other part on cassette I found for 50p in a comic shopping sale.
Did it have the outtakes at the end?
I've not finished it yet.
Okay,
but yeah.
It's worth listening.
This
is my pal Sarko. Ventriloquist is great.
If you're in or near sale, pop over to WoW Comics, give it a visit. It's pretty good. Yeah, like...
I'm just remembering the ventriloquist police puppet. That's right, me boy. It's so great. Amygdala need his medicine.
It's pretty good and silly.
Batman's great. The voice of Batman is so good.
It's a really nice... It's not quite Adam West camp, but it's heightened enough.
It knows that because it's audio, it has to paint those vivid pictures into your mind, so they go for it. Yeah. Like Riddler and Joker, like they fucking go for it.
And bless the guy who's playing Robin, he really tries with his American accent. He really tries.
He does. It's sweet.
There's a lot of dodgy American accents in it, because it's all like clearly British actors. Because it was done by the BBC, so...
Yeah. Computer. Profile on the Joker. And all this, yeah. Just wait till you get to the Mask of Tengu stuff with Lady Shiva. Oh. That's awkward territory. Dirk Maggs does a fantastic job directing.
Oh, it's a Dirk Maggs joint.
It's a Dirk Maggs joint, but there is a lot of camp.
Yeah. Well,
I raise you up and break you. Oh, all the Azrael stuff.
So good. Oh yeah,
is camp as fuck. Like you can feel the ponytail as you're listening to it.
It is camp as Christmas. It's worth a listen though. It is really good fun. And like you don't get that kind of stuff much really. You don't get. I mean, Graphic Audio did some DC ones for a while.
Yeah, these are the guys who sort of specialised in like non-profit, and then it became profit because they sort of there was like a way around the rights and stuff.
But they did stuff like Crisis Infinite Earths and Infinite Crisis and stuff like that.
They did DC. They did No Man's Land. They did a version of No Man's Land as well.
Yeah,
because they used that weird sort of volcano-y island kind of picture of Gotham separated, and it was like, oh, that's weird.
But yeah,
I mean, I've got that, and that's not great all the way through.
I've not read it. I can't.
And that's not all of it. That's not all of it. There's two other things. There's one called like Cataclysm, which is the prequel, which is the earthquake itself and everything.
Oh yeah.
And then there's another one that's called something like Road to No Man's Land, which is you have to read it after because it's tales set during the. Oh yeah. But again, this isn't me going like, I know more. It's me going, I love these things. And I to the point where I'll buy stuff where I've heard that it's not great because I just want to see for myself.
Oh yeah, I just have to know.
I just have to know. I've got to know.
Trust me. 90s X-Men is not as good as you remember.
It looks sweet as balls.
Age of Apocalypse is pretty cool, but Onslaught sucks fucking hard.
Onslaught, who brought about the heroic age.
And Noseless Wolverine!
Yeah.
Noseless Wolverine!
Critter Wolverine.
Yeah.
It's like a critter.
He does a bit. With a bandana on.
Yeah. To cover up his noseless face. How's it staying on? It's not hooked over a nose.
No, it's just tied really tight.
Which is why he was in Berserker Rage all the time.
This is so tight. Not in Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. Anyway, I think we've harped on about this long enough. It's an interesting article. Go check it out.
Yeah, I think one thing the two of us should weigh in on though, just out of curiosity, like, do you think there is a natural end occurring? And furthermore, do you think there should be an end? Because I personally, fatigue is there.
Well, nothing
I'm
ever
not
ends, Adrian.
Deep cuts.
I just referenced Watchmen. Now I'm going to go off into the corner and wank myself silly over how much of a fanboy I am.
Even though I'm experiencing the fatigue of the genre fiction a bit, not because I'm sick of it, but because there's a little too much to consume sometimes.
There is a little too much. Like, we've fallen off behind the Marvel TV stuff. Like,
I've
I haven't watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. since the start of season 3.
Yeah, I watched like the first 5, and then I watched on your recommendation, like from the Lady Sif episode onwards of series 1, and that was great. That was a really cool, like 5 hours.
Yeah,
of television.
the Hydra stuff in there, like it makes you wish that they brought the series out later so they could have done more Hydra stuff rather than having to wait until the end of the season.
I've seen a Ghost Rider ep from series 3 or 4, and I was like, that's kind of cool. Yeah. But there's lots of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I've still not watched like season 2 of Agent Carter because I'm like, that's committing to another 8 episodes.
That's
or something.
Really good.
Oh, I do really want to watch that. But do you know what I mean? Like, it's the whole thing of like Inhumans. I'm probably gonna never get around to. But I also have an inbuilt filter.
Yeah.
I can decide now, like whether or not I'm going to bother with something. Like I used to, again, as part of my love for things, suffer through terrible stuff. Like I would buy, if I love the Alien franchise, I'd buy Alien vs Predator. I'd buy Alien vs Predator Requiem.
You poor man.
I got Prometheus in 2012 because Lucy was like, I've really enjoyed it. And then we got it. And then since we've had it, we've not cracked it open once. And I said, like, did you not want to watch it? She went, it's not very good, is it? And I was like, why did we get it on release? But, like, Alien Covenant came out last week. Now, 10 years ago, like, I would have bought it on release.
Yeah.
Now, I don't even think I'm ever going to get it in a deal.
No, I'm not looking to get Alien Covenant. Well, maybe.
If we have a marathon one day, if we go like, let's watch all the Alien movies, I'll look for it cheap, or I'll if it's on Netflix by that point, I'll pull it up on that. But like, I'm not in a rush. Again, once upon a time, I would have bought Man of Steel because it's a Superman movie.
Yeah.
And I loves me some Superman. I don't own Man of Steel.
Well, it's a Superman movie in name only. Yeah.
Well, Guy a few years ago...
Not even in name.
It's
not even called Superman.
But like, Guy a few years ago was like, I kind of want to watch Man of Steel. I want to see what... You know, a lot of people said it was horrible. A lot of people said it was kind of fun. Like, I want to see for myself. And he was looking through my Blu-rays and he went, are you on DVD? Is it upstairs? So I went, no. He went, but you don't have it. I'm like, yeah, I just didn't enjoy it.
It's not very good.
I was like, oh... That surprises me. But again, it's that whole thing of because you enjoy the thing so much you want to take part.
Yeah.
But I think if you have your own filter, I think the fatigue is controllable. Yes, studios need to learn different lessons. Studios don't need to try and create cinematic universes, they need to tell their own stories.
Mm-hmm.
Marvel has a formula and there's a lot of tropes and stuff that come with the Marvel movies.
I
but
absolutely get people who say it feels samey.
Yeah, but
because it kind of is.
If no other studio was attempting to mimic them, you just attribute it to, oh, that's the Marvel thing, as opposed to everyone's doing this stuff. Post-credit sequences, universe builders, etc., etc.
It's kind of samey in the way that all coffee is kind of samey.
Yeah.
But I still drink coffee every day because I really like it.
The news. You watch the news every day.
Well, I don't, because it's shit.
But like, people wake up and stick the news on.
I get my news from sources, but
you're going to get you're going to get 3 or 4 things from it. You're going to get some news stories, you're going to look forward to bits because you get to that whole routine of going, oh, here's the weather, and oh, like this, that, the other. It's the same. It's no different. The stories may differ, but ultimately you're watching the same thing every day.
The Marvel Cinematic Universe is basically a TV show where the episodes are really long and they only come out once every few months.
Yeah. If you look at it that way, it's actually rather manageable.
Yeah, we're coming to the end of season 2.
Yeah,
at the moment.
And here be the thing: your fatigue, I think, can be self-monitored. I'm not sick of the MCU because I don't overdo it. The ones I enjoy, I'll revisit.
I don't have them all on Blu-ray.
I'll admit I've got them, but I think it's because I've enjoyed every film as it's come out.
I mean, I've enjoyed them all, but I don't own them all. I don't feel the need to rewatch them that often.
No, and if you do, come over here.
Yeah, exactly.
They're on a shelf. But again, it's the whole thing of I'm not sick of them. I know I'm not enjoying DC Warner Brothers output personally, so I'm not going to seek it out, and then I won't get sick of it. I won't be like, oh my god, the way they keep doing this, because I won't be actively pursuing it and wanting to like it.
No.
You know. I don't have to tune into another X-Men TV series if I don't want to, because I don't want to. So, there you go. You know what I mean? You can control it to a degree. So I don't think they're going to, quote, go the way of the Western, unquote. I just think eventually a studio will be bold enough to focus on a different genre.
Yes.
or a different inspiration, and that will do well. Maybe it's it. Maybe it's the turn of everything. Maybe, R-rated horror movies that are character-driven rather than scare-driven are going to be the new thing.
Yeah.
And that'll take over a bit more. And then the studios with no original ideas will stop trying to make superhero movies, and they'll try and make horror movies.
Yeah.
This is just the way it is. We just are in the social media age, knee-deep for the first time, so that we're watching people complain about it.
Yeah.
It ain't dying. It's just there's a place for people to moan.
Yeah, and moan very loudly.
Yeah. So,
Um,
meets. Plus, if it died out completely, we'd sort of run out of topics, considering we're a pop culture podcast. We'd become an R-rated horror movie podcast.
I can do that, because there isn't one.
That's true.
There's a
Hot
couple
damn,
of-
Matthew! I'm changing the show!
I said there's a couple of horror movie podcasts, there isn't one I like enough to listen to. So,
podcast.
this week's, the penultimate, for this season anyway,
Yeah, and for the UK at least, in terms of what's come out.
Rick and Morty
It's Friday. It's 6 p.m. It's Friday, 6 p.m. live in Rick and Morty Corner.
The ABCs
Oh.
of Beth.
Which is a play on the ABCs of Death.
Yes.
That's obscure as fuck.
Yes.
And also starred Thomas Middleditch in the role of the main guest character.
Yes.
Who does some pretty heinous stuff. When I say spoiler alert in this discussion, I don't mean we're going to spoil the plot. We sort of save a lot of
I'm
things
trying to
when we
beat
talk
you
about
out
Rick
of
and
the
Morty.
habit of explaining the entire plot of the episode.
But when I say spoiler alert, I mean we're going to touch on some of the jokes, and those jokes are pretty freaking heinous. So if you don't want to hear some heinous
man.
stuff, skip ahead, ladies and gentlemen. Time code's in the description.
Because there's some shit.
So, the main plot touches on Beth and Rick revisiting an imaginary play world that Beth used to play in when she was a kid.
Yes.
That isn't so imaginary. Rick created an entire universe for her to play in with her, in her free time. Everything's safe, everything's lovely. You could dip your head in the river and not drown because it's breathable water. You could fall off a cliff. And the floor's made of like gummy bear, sort of like sheet jello. Everything's wonderful. They revisit, possibly, I think, do they go in because they're looking for her friend? Our friend of hers went missing when he was a kid, and the father's on trial for having
He's
eaten him.
about to be executed for murder and cannibalism.
Yeah.
But her friend, Beth believes that her friend is actually lost in this world.
Yeah. So they go into the world, and not only is her friend in there, but there is now a whole new species of various life forms, which are affectionately referred to as Muppets at one point in the episode.
I wonder where they came from.
Yeah. How about your own production line of food and incest, guys?
Yeah.
So things get pretty screwed up in this episode.
Just how I like it.
And it's all, oh my god. And it's all played completely lovely and sort of like, at no point do they really indulge in the details aside from pretending that it's all lovely and normal. And
You don't
straightforward.
understand. Let me explain. Let me show you.
With a little play that they've obviously rehearsed in case they have visitors.
I'm about to make dinner.
Oh god. So my friend's alive and, well? Question mark? He's porking mutants and then eating the babies. Fun.
Meanwhile,
Summer and Morty are spending like their obligatory weekend time with Jerry, who is dating a warrior like a queen from an alien race who hunts all the time.
and he's voiced by Jennifer Hale.
Yes, which I was like, hey, voice actors ahoy! Who Jerry basically is clearly just in a relationship with because it might make Beth jealous. Because this is a hot warrior woman with 3 tits, and she loves sex, and she's psychic, and everything's great.
And she's blue.
And she's blue.
Don't forget she's blue.
Well, we can't forget she's blue because you realise Jerry's like, yeah, I kind of don't want to be with her because it was a mistake, and he's quite possibly racist.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, it's like, oh god.
Absolutely racist.
So Jerry tries to Jerry his way out of the relationship, and Morty suddenly have to kick his dad into gear repeatedly. Kick his ass into gear. This was really fun.
Yeah.
I don't think it was as strong as the previous 2, because it did kind of lean heavily again on the family drama, which sucked away from the sci-fi, and it almost felt like an episode 1 concept, in that they hadn't refined how to tell it yet. Do you know what I mean? Like, it sort of felt like a pilot episode kind of idea. Like, oh, we'll go back. You can imagine a pilot episode where they went back into Morty's childhood imagination.
Maybe for a different show, though.
Yeah.
Pilot episode for a different show. Because we also get the sort of cliffhanger ending. Because we don't know what Beth chose.
Yeah, that is, again,
and
no spoilers, but like, when you get to that, let us know what you think.
Yeah.
I was like,
interesting. I might come to play in the finale. We'll see.
Because
the post credits doesn't pick up on it either.
Yeah, post credits avoids it completely.
I think
and just adds a gag.
I think it intentionally avoids it completely.
Yeah. I kind of don't want them to touch on it.
No.
I kind of want us to be left to wonder.
Well, we're getting a 4th season, so.
Yeah, it's been greenlit.
So.
Because America got the episode before us, as per. So next week after everybody's digested it overseas and here and whatnot, we'll delve into the finale, which is the Rick Chori and Morty dates.
Yes. But yeah, no, ABC's Beth is a really fun episode. I think it's been a strong season. I know you're a little sour on some of it.
Yeah, it's not my favourite series of the 3, but there are some. It's not over, so we'll wait and see how I feel by the end of it.
I think we can both agree that last week's
the
Rick
Morty's
Lance's
Mind Blowers.
Oh no, the one before that. Rick Lance's mix up.
Yeah.
Sorry. That might be one of the best episodes of the show, hands down.
Oh, freaking amazing!
So,
same old story. Just Morty's killing Mortys.
Rick and Morty Corner
Was brought to you by Savlon.
Do you have a rash, a bruise, a scrape of unknown origin? Rub Savlon on your skin and say the incantation 3 times.
Papa
Nurgle will appear and embrace you. You will be healed with sweet, sweet disease. Savlon.
Time now.
Let's get into emails.
Beyond.
You went all night mail there.
Dirty emails. That was beautiful in a way.
First one comes in from Tom Monty.
Tom Monty, he's a man. He uses his fingers to type words and send them to us.
Dear Chris and Matt. So I watched It this week, and so I naturally went to the podcast in which you two discussed it, and thoroughly enjoyed hearing your guys' thoughts. I only had one gripe with the movie, as someone who hasn't read the book or watched the miniseries in full, and it's the fact that none of the main kids died. I thought Stan was a goner when I saw that utter beast of a woman's gnashes all over his face, but it looked like he got let off with only a few scratches.
Physical ones, maybe.
Also, watching horror in a public cinema isn't always a great decision. I'd call it a lottery, really. Unfortunately for me, this time I got the short straw. Why do the general public lack the ability to just sit and watch a movie? Nonetheless, it was a great movie.
Pretty darn great.
When you discussed who will play the adult versions of the kids, you mentioned Jessica Chastain for Beverly. I've also seen Amy Adams' name pop up for her. I think she looks more like the young actress, but I can also see Chastain as a suitable choice. And also Jake Gyllenhaal to take the role of Bill.
Bill.
Who was your favourite of the Losers Club? That's all for now. Tom. Delicious Monty. I already did delicious Monty. In terms of none of the Losers Club dying, remember, again, you haven't read the book or watched the miniseries, so
This is only part one of the story.
And that's all I'll say.
Gotta salt the meat,
yes,
man. Gotta
why-
salt the meat.
Why do the general public lack the ability to just sit and watch a movie?
Now, it's funny you mention it as the example. Tom!
Because we had a fucking horrendous time in the cinema when we saw it as well.
We did. I saw it twice, and the second time the audience, I think, were made up of people revisiting.
Yeah.
And people who got it from word of mouth. There was a lot more of a hush all over the screen.
The first time,
that night.
we had a bunch of teenage
Dirtbags, baby.
lads sat behind us talking the whole way through the fucking film and took in the back of the chairs. Someone was taking... No, that was in Kingsman. Someone was taking selfies during Kingsman, do you remember?
Yeah, oh
that was
God,
fucking weird.
oh no, someone did something in it, because that was the screening where, like, the attendant came in to have a word with them, and they were like, What? And someone further up went, shut up!
Oh yeah, someone started a fucking argument down at the front. It's like, Jesus Christ!
It was like, oh my God!
Oh!
Yeah, I get it. Now, the thing is, the horror screens, I don't even about the lottery in general. In terms of an audience who do want to respect the like sort of the rules and etiquette of cinema and see the movie.
The code of conduct, as
Yeah.
Mark Ward and Simon Mayo call it.
Yeah. That there is a bit of a lottery with that with horror films anyway, because everyone's reactions are different. Sometimes the reactions get on people's nerves. A common reaction to horror films is jump scares or moments of high intensity. 80% of your screen will react to it immediately with a oh!
and then laugh, yeah.
Because it's like nervous laughter, it's relief. And you kind of have to expect that. If it annoys you, you have to just go,
I have no
"That's
problem
gonna
with laughter in horror movies. Like, that's absolutely a valid reaction. I mean, you have whatever reaction you have. Like, don't force one, though. That's the thing. Like, don't force a reaction in a cinema.
But you do get the laughter and reactions in horror movies from people who are just there because they've been told, "Oh, mate, this film's well scary," so they all go along to have a laugh.
Oh, it's not scary at all.
It's not scary, mate. Oh my God, what was that bit? It's like, well, you were talking, you would have heard what it was if you weren't talking.
There's a fucking clown in it, yeah, mate.
Fucking clown scare me, man. It's like, that's nice. We don't need to know that, you prick.
Let me breathe through my mouth.
Yeah, the horror audiences are thinking. I think the ultimate test would be to go to the States and watch a horror movie in the States, because people react in American cinemas like crazy. I've only ever been to the cinema in America once, and we didn't get a big reactionary screening.
What did you see?
Iron Man 3.
Ah.
It was opening night in the States. It was a week after the UK. And it was amazing. It was the AMC, I think it was, at Universal City Walk in California.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sat there with fried chicken dippers in one hand and a
days.
beer in the other, thinking, this is amazing! Sat in the back row in this wide-ass seat.
Was it a $12 beer?
You know, it wasn't a lot. I think it was a combo. So it wasn't too bad.
Mm.
It was sort of like $15 for the two things together, and it was a fucking generous...
Cheese and rice!
A generous portion of chicken.
Okay.
It was nuts. And it came with the tub of sauce you're choosing, and I picked ketchup, and they were like, really? Because everyone goes like mayo and stuff for the
Yeah,
chicken.
but you have fucking ketchup with your pancakes.
But it also came with
monster.
a little tub of beans as well, baked beans, which is weird. They don't do that, but they do it at like KFC and places like that.
Oh,
So yeah, it's like a side. It was like, do you want corn or beans? And I was like, is that baked beans? They were like, what do you mean? Is that beans and tomato sauce? And I was like, yeah, I'm just going to say yeah. I'm not going to try and explain what baked beans are to you, because you basically described baked beans.
Yeah, they're beans.
They're a bit different, but they're a bit sickly.
They're barbecue beans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's in a tomatoey sauce, but barbecue is the bigger flavour.
I fucking love barbecue beans, man.
Yeah, quite nice. But anyway, that wasn't a particularly rowdy screening. It was like 10 p.m. that night, and I think it was mostly people. Like, people were going to come to a midnight screening, and this was before midnight, and la la la.
It was just a bunch of cunts!
But the one big reaction that happened was when he caught like everybody. You know, the Mark 43 catches everyone. Mark 42 catches everyone in the ring and falling out the plane. Freaking phenomenal sequence. And then he drops them off safely, and then he flies off and crashes into the truck, and it falls apart. Yeah. Everyone burst out laughing, pissing themselves, and then there was applause for like a minute. And I think it's because people were just so caught off guard by the gag that they applauded.
And it's a great gag, like...
It's a great gag.
Iron Man 3 is a really good movie. I really like Shane Black's writing.
It's my favourite of the Iron Man movies.
It's one of those things, if you like Shane Black's writing, Iron Man 3 is going to be right up your avenue. Right up your cul-de-sac.
Lubricated finger shoved up thine own rectal passage of fun.
If you're not a fan of Shane Black's writing, you fucking hate it.
Lucy saw Prisoner of Azkaban, I think it was, in America when she was younger. And she said, it's one of the funniest memories she's got of being in the cinema ever. It's the moment when Hermione punches Malfoy square in the face.
Ah, yeah.
People whooped, and this one woman went, "You go, girl!" It's like,
it's like a
my
scary
God.
movie.
Yeah, pretty much. but everyone in the cinema is in that mood, and you just kind of have to accept it. It's like, if I want to watch this movie and enjoy it without audience participation, I need to come to an earlier showing.
Yeah.
If I'm coming in the evening when everyone's coming to the theatre, I've got to just accept it.
That's
We kind of get that with horror films over here. You get people who are just there to doss and everything, and la la la. But yeah, do you know what I recommend, Tom? Go watch it at a quieter time.
Yeah.
Because A, it's a great movie, go watch it again. And B, your experience will be slightly different.
What kind of crowd do you think we'll get for Blade Runner 2049?
I think we'll get a lot of people who are a bit confused. People who maybe haven't seen Blade Runner, but are those sort of like, Blade Runner, I get it, I get the basics. And they'll come see it because they want to see Harrison Ford and Ryan Gosling and stuff.
That's what we'll be talking about next week, by the way.
And I hope they have, spoiler alert, I hope they have a fucking whale of a time. I hope they have a good time. And I think you'll get, based on how the movie is, I think you'll get a lot of older people who love the original going, "The fuck is this?
What the fuck is this shit?
Where's all the moody shots? Where's the uncomfortable rape?
Where's Daryl Hannah?
Where's the fucking unicorn?
Where's Sean Young?
What's that face you're pulling?
Where, for the love of God, is M. Emmett Walsh?
No one has ever said that before. Where, for the love of God, is Emmett Walsh? Oh, Rutger Hauer's outside this room going, "You're just going to leave me out then. You're just going to leave me out."
Well, everyone knows Rutger Hauer dies at the end of the first one.
Does he, though?
Yes.
Yes, he does.
I've seen things
Like tears.
you wouldn't believe. Attack ships burning off the shoulder of Orion. Sea beams glittering in the dark at Tannhauser Gate. All these moments will be lost in time like tears in rain. Time to die. And then if you're watching the original theatrical cut, you get, "I don't know why he sacrificed himself to save my life.
But I've been forced to do this voiceover, and I don't agree with it, so you can clearly hear me giving no shit."
Hate it. Final Cut's the best one. If you've not watched Blade Runner the Final Cut, go watch it before you watch Blade Runner 2049. We're going to talk about Blade Runner 2049.
We'll touch on Blade Runner next week as well, because I've got some opinions about Blade Runner that may surprise you.
I don't think they will.
But also, I was genuinely taken aback when I found out he improvised so much of his own dialogue.
I can believe that.
It just basically went like, "You don't really need to say much, just be intimidating." He was like, "Fuck that! I'm Rutger Hauer, bitch!"
I'm Rutger Hauer, bitch!
Like that entire end bit.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh my God. It's freaking beautiful. It's the best dialogue in the film.
Yeah.
So good.
Final email.
Final email.
I need a
In
voice.
the days of yore, the gentlemen found themselves faced with a tablet. Scribed upon was the final communication of the civilization that went before. Hence they lifted the tablets above their head into the light, cast their eye upon the etchings so desperately carved into the surface, and found upon naught but this.
I need a voice for this one, Chris.
Charlton Heston in the Ten Commandments. Seemed appropriate after all the tablet build-up.
Chris mentioned Dr. Foster being his favourite non-canon doctor. So I was wondering if you have watched the show and what you think of it. Thanks, chaps. Nah.
That's really good. Should we say, "Let my people go"?
Let my people go!
It goes an
Ah!
and finally, "You blew it up, damn you all to hell."
You blow it up! Damn you! Damn you all to hell!
Now, one more time, but add unnecessary S's at the end of words like the plumber from Futurama.
You blows it all up! Damn you! Damn you, soul to hells!
It's fucking beautiful. We've got a movie. Congratulations!
I've finished my beer.
We got a movie.
We got a movie.
We got a movie film.
Have we seen Dr. Foster?
I've never watched Dr.
I've
Foster.
never watched Dr. Foster. And as such, I have little to no opinion. Sorry, Dan. Sorry to disappoint you there.
Who's it? Dan
Rawlings.
Dan Rawlings. Good day, Dan Rawlings. Yeah, I just said it because it was like I wanted to be funny in my answer, but I also like Saran Jones. So there you go.
Well, the title of the email is Duran Sones.
Does she?
Apparently so.
Right, you big bunch of bastards. Homework for next week.
We're setting homework because we've got a shorter podcast, so we have time to do other things.
Yes, like shoes and chips and seething wets and cabbages and kings. And while the sea is boiling hot and whether pigs have wings, Callooh Calais will walk today as cabbages and kings. If you have not seen Blade Runner, and you are of an acceptable age / financial situation,
/ if you actually want to watch it, that is.
Yeah, we're not forcing you, but it would be interesting to hear your thoughts. Get it rewatched or get it watched before next week, and chuck us an email. I want to see your 1 to 3 sentence sort of reviews of Blade Runner. I want to know your basics. 1 to 3 sentence reviews of the original Blade Runner, and let us know what you think about the upcoming one, whether you've seen it, or whether you know it's coming up, or whether you've got predictions. All that good shit.
And also see Blade Runner 2049, because we're going to talk about it.
Yeah,
when we're going to see that. Actually.
We are going to replicate our cants next week. Doesn't work. And what I'm going to try and get hold of for next week, if I can, is my first Blade Runner experience, which was the PC point-and-click adventure game.
Oh, they did that, and they've just done that in Caravan of Garbage.
Have they?
Yeah.
Oh, shit! Okay, I'm going to watch that. Because that was my first experience with Blade Runner.
That
was my only experience with it. It was weirdly creepy.
Yeah, it looks creepy.
Really eerie. And the first time you are faced with gunfire, you don't know what to do. Because it's been 3 hours of just investigating.
It's a point and click, isn't it?
Yeah. There is something you can do.
What?
But, well, I'll tell you next week.
Oh,
ladies and gentlemen, my nipples are tingling.
So are mine.
Oh, get your outfit, lad.
If you want to get in touch with us, please contact at bigdamcontact@gmail.com, at bigdamcast on Twitter.
You can follow our articles and flim-flam at bigdamblog.tumblr.com.
Yes.
And of course, if you aren't already watching this on YouTube, then you can go us on YouTube, the Big Damn channel, where we make regular content and bollocks.
I believe we're closing in on the end of Red Dead Redemption, for those of you who are following Inventions in Backlogging, all 2 of you. Thank you for watching, / listening.
Hey, I'm here 3.
Hey!
Yay! I'm in it sometimes.
Sometimes. He's in it and he watches it. I don't know what he does when he watches it, but I don't want to be there.
I'm not going to answer that because I've had a beer. So, we'll see you next week, you handsome swines.
Bye!
Be good to each other.